Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The thicker kicker walked off the Bears in overtime to send the Rams to the NFC Championship game. Also, the Patriots are back in the Conference Championship game after the Texans imploded in the Divisional round. And Miami squares off against Indiana for the National Championship later tonight. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Sunday slate not going to win any beauty contests for quarterback play, but the LA Rams, Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, they pull out a win on Sunday night in Chicago. The charmed Bears run has come to an end. Doug McCain from Locked On Rams joined me now. And Doug, there was about 6 different times it looked like either one of these teams had won and lost the game. What was ultimately the difference for you for LA?
100% the defense. You got 3 stops on 4th down, 2 in the red zone. Cam Curl comes up with that big interception after Caleb Williams goes full Superman at the end of the game to send it to overtime for that Rams defense to bounce back like that after not having that successful first drive. It was the defense tonight, and I think that you saw that this is a Rams team that is not just Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua. This is a team that leans on his defense too, and they shined in Chicago.
And the run game was not as big a part of this game plan as we thought. It was a game where if you follow on social media, a lot of people going, "Hey, what's Sean McVay doing?" They were having some success on the ground, Doug, all game, and yet it wasn't a big part of the game plan here. What gives there?
We'll see what Sean McVay has to say after the game, but in those elements, Matthew Stafford was off tonight, missing throws that he typically makes. You had low percentage throws, and after 3 quarters, he had thrown 30 passes on the night. And as you point out, the run game was efficient. They were averaging 4.4 yards per carry until the 4th quarter. There were some opportunities to lean on it, but they just did not. And that has been the common criticism of Sean McVay. And I guarantee you that had the Rams not won tonight, if it wasn't for the thicker kicker coming up big, a 42-yard kick to send us to the NFC Championship game, that would be the number one story. Why did you not run the football with more regularity tonight? But hey, there's no such thing as an underwhelming playoff win, and it is a survive and advance feeling here, but I'm with you. I was about to throw my house into the middle of the street if we saw one more throw from Matthew Stafford in those situations.
Yeah, even late, they're trying to score touchdowns late, low percentage go ball throws into coverage. I mean, either one of those throws down the sideline, the left and the right sideline, could have been intercepted. I know Matthew Stafford put them in pretty good places in each case. His receivers had chances to make those plays, but you're also throwing to Terrence Ferguson and Kobe Parkinson instead of Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. It was just sort of like, what exactly is going on here? I want to rewind for a second, though. Caleb Williams makes one of the all-time great clutch throws, fading away, running away from Rams pass rush, 18 seconds left. They get the game-tying touchdown. Ben Johnson decides to kick the extra point rather than go for 2. I want to ask you it this way, Doug. Which one of those did you want, from a Rams perspective, Ben Johnson to do?
I mean, clearly in hindsight, if you can stop someone on one of those plays, you can go home, you feel great about it. But I was terrified that they were going to go for it and find a way to have some success, get them out of structure, get them creative. And then that Rams defense was out there, felt like the entire game making big stops, that maybe that was the play where they break. And I think if you're the Bears, you feel like you've already had a successful season. Chicago already feels like they have their quarterback and the head coach of the future. It felt like even if they didn't get that there, I don't think a lot of people would complain or say that was a bad move. So once I saw that extra point go through the uprights, I gave a little pump fist because I felt like, okay, let's win this in overtime by any means necessary. And you feel like the grit and the toughness of this team can find a way to get it done. But I'm with you. I think they should have gone for it. I'm pretty surprised that they didn't. And they eventually played for overtime where you saw some conservative play calling at times, but the Rams were able to get it going. It was not a great night for Sean McVay. It was not a great night for Matthew Stafford. Devonta Adams had some big catches, Puka Nacua. But as you point out, I think that's the takeaway too. With the season on the line, you're going to Colby Parkinson, who did make that big catch against the Panthers, but also Terrence Ferguson. But, hey, it was all about setting up that rematch with the Seahawks. They found a way to get there, and they're there.
Does the way this game played out, understanding the way that the last game against the Seahawks played out, change at all the way that you feel about the matchup as we look forward here to the NFC Championship game in Seattle?
Look, that defense is vicious. That defense is scary at times. I'm not going to deny that. But I will say, I don't think you're going to see two straight clunkers from Matthew Stafford. We don't know if he was dealing with something.
And Sean McVay, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is he going to get hit in the hand again? We'll see. But I think that this was kind of the get over the hump game. And now you are one win away from the Super Bowl. That Seattle team, it almost felt like in your gut, you knew there was going to be a trilogy with how competitive those matchups were all season. And it's going to be an absolute war. It really is. And any team can win it, but I still have a confidence that the Rams, who just don't get blown out, very, very rarely do they get blown out in games when they're at full strength. And that game's going to come down to the fourth quarter. And give me Matthew Stafford or Sam Darnold in a game that comes down to the fourth quarter.
Stay up to date all year on the LA Rams by subscribing to Locked On Rams on your favorite podcast app. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, Drake May and the Patriots travel to Denver for the AFC title. Before we get to that, the Broncos knocked out Josh Allen and the Bills, but had a major cost. The NFL playoffs are rolling along, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a Profit Boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your Profit Boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your Profit Boost pack every NFL playoff game day. The Broncos topped the Bills in overtime to advance to the AFC title, but lost Bo Nix in the process.
The Denver Broncos will host the AFC Championship next week after they knocked off Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in an overtime thriller, 33-30 here. It was a back-and-forth action here as the Broncos once had a 23-10 lead in this game, but Josh Allen made himself valuable here, showcasing how dangerous of a player he is. But the Broncos, Bo Nix, ultimately get the last laugh in this game as Will Lutz knocks in the game-winning field goal. Now, the Denver Broncos, just 10 years after they hosted an AFC Championship game against New England Patriots, they get to host another one with a chance to go back to Santa Clara for Super Bowl 60, where the last time they won, Super Bowl 50, 10 years ago. Where at? Santa Clara. The Denver Broncos are finding themselves to be a team of destiny here, and they're going to have to clean up some things offensively to find sustainability along the way. But you know what? An AFC Championship game next week in the Mile High City. Make sure you stay tuned to Locked On Broncos for more.
The Seattle Seahawks strangled the 49ers to host the NFC Championship game.
History at Lumen Field, the Seattle Seahawks tying a franchise record with a 35-point rout of the San Francisco 49ers to advance to the NFC Championship game. 41-6 victors over San Francisco. Another dominant defensive performance. 8 straight quarters against San Francisco without giving up a touchdown in just 9 total points. The Seahawks produced 3 turnovers, 2 of them from Ernest Jones, a forced fumble that Julian Love recovered, an interception of Brock Purdy in the third quarter. They also got a strip sack from DeMarcus Lawrence that Nick Eamon-Warry recovered. Sam Darnold didn't show any ill effects from his oblique injury. Wasn't asked to do a lot, but was effective with 17 pass attempts, completed 70% of his throws, and had a beautiful touchdown pass to Jackson Smith and Jigba as Seattle went up 17-0 at the end of the first quarter. From there really was no doubt who was going to win this football game. The 49ers couldn't get anywhere close to enough offense going to get back in this game. Seattle was up 24-6 at halftime and kept pouring it on in the second half with ferocious defense. Rashid Shaheed opened the game with a kick return for a touchdown that electrified this crowd as well. All three phases playing perfect complementary football. This is about as dominant of all-around effort as you're going to see in an NFL playoff game. The Seahawks are hoping to carry that momentum over into the NFC Championship game, which will be back here at Lumen Field against either the Chicago Bears or the Los Angeles Rams.
And though they weren't playing, the Green Bay Packers made news over the weekend, extending Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst, according to reports. The Green Bay Packers and Matt LaFleur reportedly agree to an extension, but Matt LaFleur still has to prove he's worth the money. I'm Peter Bukowski, host of Locked On Packers, with three quick takeaways from the news that the Packers are extending Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst. And let's start there because I think that is crucial. There is organizational alignment here, and that has always been something that, for better and for worse, the Packers have valued. Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur are tied together here moving forward, which means they each have incentives to feel the pressure, to understand the urgency of the moment, and to try and make changes. The question that I have is, what else is going to change? Are staff changes coming? Probably, because Jeff Hafley is going to get one of these head coaching jobs. It sure looks like so. Does he take offensive staff with him? Does he take defensive staff with him? Are there coaching changes that need to be made anyway? I'm looking at you, Rich Bisaccia. That is something that the Packers are going to have to not only decide, but deal with if and when Hafley gets another job. And then structurally, what is this going to look like? Does Matt LaFleur have more say on the roster, less say on the roster? Does he report to Ed Policy, or is he going to report to Brian Gutekunst? My guess is this is all going to be decided as part of these negotiations, which is why this took a little bit of time. But now you've got to go win. You've got to prove that you are worth it, that this was the right choice. Matt LaFleur immediately kind of on the hot seat. The Lakers hosted the Raptors.
This is Zaney Kamenetsky, co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast, and the Lakers get a 110-93 win over the Raptors in LA, a desperately needed victory, and also one of the best team efforts of the season, a rare victory over a quality opponent that did not require Luka Doncic to be superhuman. 25 points on 8 of 23 shooting, 7 assists against 4 turnovers. He was not bad in this game, but he was not great either. Instead, it was a collective showing by the Lakers. DeAndre Ayton, 25 points on 10 of 10 from the field, plus 13 rebounds. Jared Vanderbilt, 2 points, but 9 rebounds off the bench. Constant defensive activity, plus 25 in the plus minus. Just a lot of guys, as the saying goes, starring in their roles. LeBron James was an anchor, 24 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 blocks. The best defense this team has played in quite some time, and something they needed to have happen before heading out on a long road trip. For more Lakers coverage, make sure you're watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
CJ Stroud and the Texans imploded against the Patriots on Sunday afternoon. Locked On Patriots host Nick Cattles celebrated the statement New England made versus Houston and looked ahead to the AFC Championship game against a Bo Nix-less Broncos squad.
Not in my wildest dreams did I think the Patriots would be going to the AFC Championship game this year. I predicted before this season kicked off that the Patriots would win 9 games. I said a perfect season. If everything fell perfectly for this football team, they had a chance of winning 11 games. What they are doing right now is banana land. From 4-13 last season to the AFC Championship game this season. No more schedule talk. I tweeted just a little while ago at Nick C Radio, you know, it's unfortunate that this run doesn't count since the Patriots had such a weak schedule, right? It really is a shame. It's a bummer. It's a bummer that this just doesn't count. Forget the schedule talk. Enough is enough. Everybody on ESPN that has not played for the Patriots in their past can pick the Houston Texans. Everybody could talk about the Houston Texans defense. Everybody could talk about DeMeco Ryans. Everybody could talk about the Patriots' schedule not being strong enough and, oh, who have they really beaten and all this other. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. 0 complaints about this football season. 28-16, the Patriots discard the Houston Texans. They take care of their business. And one of my favorite parts of this football game was the end of this football game. What we saw was a statement from the Patriots offense. What we saw was a statement from their offensive line. And that statement was, we're going to run the football down your throats We are going to soak this clock in the fourth quarter, and you can't do anything about it. We're telling you we're running the football. We're constantly in I formation, and we're just going to run the football down your throat over and over and over and over again. An absolutely gigantic swing in the fourth quarter when the Patriots went from inside their own 5-yard line. Great punt. A 69-yard punt. The Patriots start from there inside their own 5-yard line. And their offense goes 1st and 10, I formation, Ramondre Stevenson, 8 yards. 2nd and 2, I formation, Ramondre Stevenson, 5 yards. 1st and 10, 6 offensive linemen, I formation, Ramondre Stevenson, 9 yards. 2nd and 1, under center, Ramondre Stevenson, 3 yards. 1st and 10, fullback, offset, Travion Henderson, 6 yards. 2nd and 4, under center, I formation, Travion Henderson, 3-yard loss. But then you have a 3rd and 7, shotgun formation. Stephon Diggs gets a 14-yard reception, moved the chains. You ran the football 2 more times. I mean, just unbelievable. The Patriots wasted 6 minutes of clock time. So from inside their own 5-yard line, there was about, 10 minutes, 11 minutes left in this football game. And the Patriots just ran it and ran it and ran it and ran it and ran it. And the Texans could not do anything about it. That is a huge drive. The Patriots did not get any points from that drive, but they swung the field position and they soaked 6 minutes of game time with that drive. And then they followed that up. I don't know why DeMeco Ryans punted the football with 1 timeout and 4 minutes left, but he decided to punt the football. Patriots go out there again. Ramondre Stevenson, 9 yards. Ramondre Stevenson, 2 yards. Move the chains. Take more of that clock away from the Houston Texans. That's statement type stuff. And I don't know why the Patriots decided to throw the football on 3rd and 10. That was pretty aggressive. Didn't like it. But man, oh man, what a statement at the end of this game. What a statement in that fourth quarter by this offensive line against that defensive line, telling them we're going to win this football game. This thing is over. And we're going to do it by being physical. We're going to punch you in the face over and over and over again. I loved it. And Joe Buck and Troy Aikman said this during the game. You know Mike Vrabel loved that. You know Mike Vrabel loved that drive from inside your own 5-yard line, and you just kept running it and running it and running it. Shout out to the defense. The defense put pressure on C.J. Stroud all day long. They blitzed and got pressure. They actually got some pressure with the 4-man pass rush, which is pretty amazing. We have not seen that consistently, but they did get some pressure with 4-man pass rush. And they ended the game, for all intents and purposes, with a Kyrie's Tonga, Anthony Jennings game up front. Tonga gets the sack. So Kyrie's Tonga really put an end to the football game with that sack, which led to DeMeco Ryans, for whatever reason, punting the football away. But that defense was hunting all day long. That defense was attacking all day long. That defense made life miserable for C.J. Stroud in the Texans offense. I mean, this was a game of turnovers. C.J. Stroud had 4 interceptions. Woody Marks had a fumble. It felt like Drake May fumbled the ball 15 times. I mean, this was a chaotic game with a ton of turnovers. It wasn't a work of art by any stretch of the imagination, but who cares?
Stay up to date all year on the New England Patriots by subscribing to Locked On Patriots on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, Miami is a big-time underdog against Indiana in the national title game. Miami Hurricanes have defied all odds to make the national championship game, but an invincible Indiana team stands in their way of glory. Locked On Big 12 host Drake Tull previewed the title game on Amazon Fire TV's college football kickoff show with Jesse Holley and Coach Gary Patterson.
And another massive thank you to Jacob Rodriguez for joining the show today. Time for our Crunch Time selections from California Almonds. Shaped like a football, fuels like a champion. Coach, Crunch Time, Indiana, Miami.
Well, because of Coach Signetti being my age, I've always been an Indiana fan, but I'll be honest with you. Fort Worth kid, starting center, Brockemeyer for Miami, know the family well. So I'm going to go kind of a different way of doing it, but I'm going to kind of go with the sentimental favorite here. I'm going with Miami.
Oh, you're the ACC guy, Jesse. Come on now.
Yeah, for me, I'm staying in the ACC.
Wow.
And my crunch time player is going to be Mark Fletcher Jr. And shout out to Mark Fletcher Jr.'s mom. She's afraid to fly, so she drives to every single football game, traveled over 1,500 miles to California to watch them play. She won't have to drive this far to watch this game because it's right in their backyard. I think Mark Fletcher has a tremendous game. This game will be won on the back and legs of Mark Fletcher Jr. in the physical style of running the football for Miami.
I thought I was going to be the odd man out here, right? Mark Fletcher to Carson Beck to the defense of Malachi Toney, the young core with the veteran leadership. Screw that, man. The better football team's going to win. Indiana wins this game by double digits. It's at Miami. It doesn't matter. Kurt Signetti, Google him. And when you Google him on Tuesday, he'll have national champion next to his name.
And finally, Nick Foles posted a message on social media for Broncos fans. Foles, who of course won a Super Bowl with the Eagles as a backup quarterback forced into action in the playoffs, says he understands the emotions Denver fans are feeling after Bo Nix suffered a broken ankle against the Bills. He believes, however, there is still a positive to take out of all of this. The Patriots struggle against backup quarterbacks in championship-type games. If history repeats itself, Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos could be in for their first Super Bowl appearance since 2016. We'll see what Sean Payton can cook up for his backup next Sunday against New England. Coming up, it'll be an uphill battle for Miami in the national championship game, but can they pull off the upset? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.